Hello guys, welcome back onto the Dutch couch. I want to talk about Dagenham and Redbridge, the first half of the season. I want to talk about the form of the team, the mentality, the manager, who's sadly gone now, and the way the club's run, and what the few tricks that I think they're missing out on here. They're not using the best of, right? This is the first season, like I've said in previous videos, we've gone over there full time, right, as three generations. And I've got to say, one thing that really has shocked me and has actually pleased me, and I love the fact is, the fan base here is so passionate. And I used to think that going to the National League, right, was like a secondary thought other than supporting your main team. What a load of shit that was. I'm telling you, I'm personally, from a personal point of view now, this is my number one anyway. But I love the fact that so many people think so much of their local team and are so passionate about it. And this fan base is so passionate. I didn't even realise it before. But going there now full time and being surrounded by it and the people, I love it. I love that about it. But I've got to say, on the team point of view first, right? When I look at this team, I think it's full of talent. I think there's so much ability in that squad. It lacks depth massively though. That's a huge problem here. It lacks squad depth. You get a couple of injuries, which they've had, and it has really taken its toll. You see a huge difference. You can't afford that at this level. I mean, they've literally had to sacrifice, in my opinion, two cup competitions, the Essex Cup and the FA Trophy, losing games to Chertsey and Canvey Island, going out of them competitions. They've literally had to sacrifice them competition due to the lack of depth in the squad, which is sad because they could have won silverware. They could have quite easily won 2 bits of silverware there. That's the sad side of it. The second side of it, I'd say, to get out of this league anyway, you need to invest massively. You've only got to look at the likes of Wrexham. They found it hard to get out of this league. Now they've gone up into the league itself. They seem to be better off. But they found it hard to get out of this division. That tells the story. This league is brutal, mate. It's unforgiving. And it's so hard to get out of. You ain't going to get promoted from this league on loans, bringing loan players in. That's not going to happen. Simply not going to happen. It might have 15, 20 years ago. Not now. The league form with this team, I'll tell you what, they are consistent, this team. They're consistently inconsistent. And that is the biggest problem here. But as strange as it sounds, that's one of the main things that endears me to them. Endears them to me. I can't help it but love them, just because they're inconsistency. I know it might sound really fucking stupid, but when you've been going to watch a team at the top end of the Premier League for nearly 40 years, and every game you expect to win, when you go and watch a team here, your local team, and you don't know what's going to happen, you go there thinking anything can happen. That's one of the biggest things that I actually love about this, as fucking stupid as that may sound. It might change, I might get frustrated with it, I don't know, but I love it at the moment. But you've only got to look at the start of the season, right? The first 3 games of the season, the league season, the National League. A win, a draw and a loss in the first 3 games. For me, that set the tone. That's you in roller coaster mode as soon as the games start. 3 games in, you've had all 3 possible results. And you know what's going to happen. You know what's happening this season with this team. Inconsistent. Roller coaster, but I love it. I never thought they could get they never really got any sort of momentum, did they? I mean, in September, you see them, they won 3-0 at home to Sutton. Fucking great result. Then they go and topple that with a 7-1 win at home to Gateshead. Fucking absolutely best day over there this season, at home in particular. That was fucking brilliant. I really enjoyed that. They went to Hartlepool and won 1-0 and you're thinking, fuck me, we're on a good little run here. Then it stops. Then it's the inconsistency again and you're thinking, shit, we could have got some momentum now. 3-1 at home to Barnet the other week. That was frustrating. Even though it's weird because I came out of that ground buzzing just to the fact that I saw that game and I loved it. I loved the game. I didn't like the result, gutted at the end. But it's a recurring theme at home with this team. It doesn't matter if we're 1, 2 or 3 up or whatever. I'm always thinking, last 15, 20 minutes, I'm thinking, fuck me, what's going to happen? Is there going to be a collapse here? I mean, nearly lost a 3-goal lead against 10 men the other week at home to Aldershot. We was clinging on by the skin of our teeth at the end for a fucking 3 points. And people were frustrated at the end, and I got that because the mentality I thought was wrong there again. They thought it was one, and they sort of strolled in the last 20, and they nearly come a cropper, mate. It was a close one. The mentality I talk about, I'm huge on mentality. I'm huge on body language, right? But mentality in particular. I mean, this is a team they've won one league game away all season, right? At Hartlepool, 1-0, right? They go to Crewe, who are a League Two team in the FA Cup. Fully deserved to beat Crewe. Could have been more, in my opinion, on the day. I thought we were brilliant. And then we go to AFC Wimbledon in League Two in the FA Cup again. And I went there with a thought that, and I said this to a few people on the night, I hope we're in the game at half time, even if we're 1 down, just so we're in the game. I'll tell you what, fucking what a performance. And what a night. Like I said on another video, best away end I've ever been in. Because it meant more, because I was surrounded by people from my own area who had the same feelings as me of their local club. It was fucking immense, and that was something I will never forget unless I get Alzheimer's, which is fucking probable. But this is the thing, you've got to... I don't get how you can raise yourself. This is why people get frustrated with this team, I think. You can raise yourself for these big games like that, and then when you go to the likes of Tamworth, Boston, Oldham, places like that, and Yeovil, you shrink. Mentally, you shrink. I've seen it. Players go within themselves. You're hardly creating a chance. You look like you're waiting for the inevitable to happen, Just surrender points. And Wealdstone last week was the epitome of that. The players, the confidence looked shot to pieces. They looked, obviously, most teams do look more comfortable on their home pitch. But home and away with this team is night and day. They look scared away from home. They look so restricted. They look like no one wants the ball. It's so frustrating to watch because I know there's talent in this squad. But like I say, the depth in this squad is a massive problem. That's a massive problem. They struggle to creating chances. I know you've had injuries up front. But yeah, that's a big one. But the last two performances in particular, Wealdstone and Braintree, to be honest, they were abysmal performances. The game at Wealdstone in particular, yesterday was bad enough, but Wealdstone, honestly, I always say this, if you're not at your best, at least show that you're going to run through a brick wall for the manager, run through a brick wall for the fans, and run through a brick wall for the shirt. At Wealdstone, I thought they just surrendered. I don't think that... I saw a lack of heart, and that's one of the first times I've seen that this season, a total lack of interest with some of them. They just sort of surrendered. And same yesterday with the Braintree game. And these are teams who are inferior to Dagenham. Let's get it right. Squads-wise, these teams, starting 11s in particular, to Dagenham, they're inferior. They're below you. So I expected you to put these teams away. But these teams made Dagenham look so poor. But saying that, I think Dagenham made themselves look so poor. I think their own mentality killed them in those two games, which was sad to see. Obviously, I know there was a message over Christmas from the chairman saying about fans having a go at players and members of staff and whatever. The only thing I would say to that is, I get that. There is a line you can cross. There is a line you can cross. And like I say, these are people before they're players and managers. I'll say that. They are people first, and they have got feelings and stresses and stuff. They're under pressure. But what I would say to that chairman would be, these people work their nuts off for their money, and some of them might not be on great money. So they're finding the money to go to football to support this team. And as much as, say, games like Wimbledon or Crewe, right, when the players come over for the plaudits, fully deserved at the end, when they've worked their nuts off, if you're playing inferior teams and you can't raise your efforts against inferior teams, you can't expect the fans to not have a say. They're going to have a say with that. Every football fan deserves that. Because without the football fans, the club is nothing. So the fans are a bigger part of that club than anybody. So I don't blame the fans for losing their rag or having their say. But like I say, there is a line to cross. And I get that. I do get that. But you can't restrict fans from having an opinion. That's impossible, and it's never going to happen. I would say that. But what I'd say about the manager, was he too nice? Let me know in the comments what you think. I personally, from what I've seen of the guy, I've watched videos of him giving players bollockings in change rooms, so I know he's got it in him. I've seen him on YouTube. I'm sure I have. Seen little clips. People have sent me clips of this manager giving players rollickings at other clubs and what have you. So he's got it in him. So I can't think that he was too nice in the changing room. The only thing I can think, was he adaptable? Was he adaptable during games? Was he proactive? Was he reactive in the games? How the game was going and making substitutes and what sort of players? Would he go too negative when you needed goals or whatever? Only he can answer that, because it played out on the pitch. It all played out on the pitch the way that he set it up. And it's a results business. At the end of the day, it is a results business. And ultimately, the results are the reason that they've let him go. As much as I liked him, as much as everyone liked him, I think you have to respect that it is a results business at the end of the day. And if these owners are talking about getting to League One long term, you are a million miles away from League Two, let alone getting to League One. There is a massive step to get there. So I don't think that's, at the moment, realistically, I think you need to be trying to push for the playoffs first. I don't even think that's a possibility this season. You're closer to the bottom now. You probably, the way the form's going, you're more in a relegation scrap than you are in a playoff push, sadly. But yeah, the thing I can say with the manager though, I can only say a massive thank you to him, right? And I think everyone's got to agree with this. Those memories at the likes of Crewe and Wimbledon, I have to say a massive thank you to him for giving us those memories. I was able to make those memories with thousands of others, right? With my old man and my two boys, making those memories, watching this team do that, it was emotional. And those memories, mate, they will stick with me for fucking so long. And I have to say thank you to him for that. As much as there was some lows during this season, there was plenty of highs, which I look back and I'll thank him for, as much as the players. He's part of that. Like I say, it is a results business. But it was clear to me, towards the end, he was under massive pressure. Like I say, I look at people's body language. A lot of fans don't look at this sort of stuff. And probably because I've literally studied football for like fucking 40 years, mate. Football's such a massive part of my life. And I look at things in a lot of different ways to others, right? I look at body language of people. And the last few weeks in particular, the manager, to me, he looked absolutely fucking mentally fucked. He looked knackered. He looked mentally battered. And it was sad to see, actually. I've got to say, it was sad to see. Especially as I know for a fact that this man here wanted to be a success more than anybody. Because he loves this club. I thought that was sad to see. If it was Joe Public off the street who had no affiliation with his club, and I'd probably look at it differently. But this guy loved Dagenham Redbridge. And I really wanted him to do well. But he is under so much pressure. But another way I look at it is, this is another way I'm looking at this, right? I'm wondering just how much power he actually had, what decisions he was making. I'm not sure. I know Dagenham Redbridge have gone down the modern route, haven't they? Of bringing in different like sporting directors and stuff like that. So I'm not sure what sort of... Was he bringing in his players? I don't know. So you've got to look at it that way. If he's not bringing his own players in, then maybe he's got players there that he doesn't trust anyway, and he didn't rate. This is one way of looking at this. So I don't know. I don't know if he brought his own players in. People are telling me they're not his players. Others are telling me they are his players. Who knows? Only he knows, and only the people at the club would know that. But the other thing I would say, when I'm seeing sort of, I think in a club, I think if you've got a role at that club, stick to that role. If you're an expert in your role, stick to that. Don't get involved in other roles. And I'm seeing people are telling me that people like sporting director and that are going in the changing room after games and talking to players and what have you. And I saw, obviously, the sporting director was on the bench at Wildston. For me, The bench is for the coaching staff and the players. Sporting directors at any club, not just this club, not just singling out this guy. At any club, a sporting director should not be anywhere near the bench. Because that manager, put it this way, if you're coaching, like I'll coach at grassroots level, mate, and there's even a little bit of pressure there. You've got parents in your ear. If you've got a sporting director standing behind you during a game, you're under the pressure to get this result anyway. And in the back of your mind as a manager, you're thinking, fuck me, I've got pressure in my ear here. I've got people watching me here. So that only magnifies the pressure on you and yourself, the pressure you're putting on yourself. So I think maybe that was an effect on him as well. And someone said to me at the club yesterday that this sporting director, like I said, goes into the change room after the game and does this, talks to it. For me, that's not what you should be doing. You should be focusing on what you should be doing. The players should be focusing on what they should be focusing on. Then you're all going in the same direction. If you're interfering in each other's jobs or putting pressure on other jobs or getting involved in other people's jobs, that's when heads lock. That's when horns lock, and that's why things don't work half the time. But like I say, I'm only going on what I've been told here. I've got no real will. I've got to say, the guy messaged me once on Twitter and sent 14 free tickets for the kids to go to the football. So on that respect, great guy, he's done a lovely thing there. I can only go what I'm told from the outside, and as someone who I've got quite a good knowledge of football in general, but I look at this sort of stuff, whereas other fans probably might not look at this. I don't know. But how I do think the club are missing out and missing a trick massively. I mean, it's not even an academy at this club. There's no sort of route to the first team for youth players here. There's no academy at all, which for me is a massive disadvantage. And I can't believe that they've got no academy there, system at all. To me, that's pretty ridiculous. I mean, I was speaking to fans on the way home from Wildston, part-time club, they've got an academy. You've got Barking down the road. They've got a pathway to the first team through their youth system, the youth club. They've got so many youth teams there, all with a pathway to the first team. That's Barking. So for a club like Dagenham Redbridge to not have anything like that, I think it's a shambles in that respect, to be honest. For someone who's involved in youth football, I personally know that there's so much young talent, even in this local area, you are not tapping into. You are missing out on so much talent locally. And it goes back to the squad depth, doesn't it? Where's the youth players? You'd have some youth players to fall back on, wouldn't you? Instead, when you're playing Essex Cup games and whatever, I'm seeing trialist. If you've got a youth system there, with a coaching development system, decent coaches in place, all the teams at your club playing the same style and philosophy, this is why I look at things differently. I look at this through like a continental style. This is what should be happening, even at these clubs like this. Because if you want to go into League 2 and League 1, that's vital. That is vital. And another thing I think you're missing out on massively, and I can't believe there's a stronger link here, because West Ham ladies play at the home stadium at Victoria Road there. Why is there not a stronger link between your local Premier League team, West Ham United, and Dagenham? Where is the players from West Ham who want to get minutes in a competitive game? Why are they not coming here? I mean, you had the boy last season, didn't you? He ended up going to Southend. It beggars belief. It didn't make sense. He done really well at Dagenham. He came over to Dagenham on loan. Foss and Appiah, sorry. Came over on loan, played really well. People are going, he'd be a great signing full time. West Ham then announced that he's leaving the club. And everyone's thinking, blimey, that'd be... And then Southend announced that they've signed him. I couldn't believe that. Just missed a trick. Absolutely missed a trick. But there's so much talent at West Ham in the youth system there. You must be tapping into this. You must be. I'm not sure why there's no link there. Because like I say, there is links in the respect that West Ham ladies play there. And West Ham, from what I believe, pay for the pitch or whatever, the facilities on the upgrade for the pitch and whatever, you need to be getting these players in. It's like, obviously new owners are coming, haven't they? Don't know much about them, so I've got nothing negative to say about them. But from what people say, they've not really seen much of them. But you've got to be looking at the bigger picture. If you're in this for the long haul, there must be a process here. And this is just my way of looking at football and a football club. There must be a process here that you're looking at, thinking, right, youth system, academy, links with a Premier League club to get players. It's all helping you. I don't know the finances behind all that. I don't know the finances behind getting an academy running. But long term, you're going to pay dividends, mate. It can't be that high if the likes of Wilson have got an academy, surely. And Barking have got a fucking academy, like a youth system thing. I don't get it. I think you're missing a massive trick there. And I think you really need to look at something like that. You might already be. I'd like to know in the comments if people think they're looking at that. But that's crazy. But like I say, without huge investment, this club's not going to get back to League One. You could do it years ago. You ain't doing it now. There's too many finances. There's too many teams with money now. To compete, you need to spend. Loans are not going to get you out of this division. Nowhere near it. If you think loans are going to get you out of this division, mate, fuck me. You might as well go and support Tottenham, because you're going to be so deluded, you might as well go and support them. It's not going to happen. But what I would say about this club is, right, like I say, been going there full time now for this first half of this season as season ticket holders. And I've got to say, as poor as this form's been in and out, it's probably the most that I've enjoyed the first half of a season going to watch football for nearly 40 years. And the reason is, it's the people that we've met. It's the silly things like going in the clubhouse and just feeling part of something, surrounded by people from my local area. And I respect, it's not Tourist FC, is it? It's not Tourist League up there in the Premier League. It's not Tourist FC, Arsenal. It's fucking real. It's real football, and you get what you get. And I think we have to embrace that. And I embrace the fucking unexpectedness of it. I embrace not knowing what's going to happen. And I actually did feel sorry for this manager yesterday when I found out he lost his job. I did feel sorry for him, because I think you always blame your tools, don't you? A workman could only work with the tools that he's got. And I do wonder, was he given the tools and the resources to do what they expected him to do and what he planned to do? You can only work with what you've got, right? And I don't think the massive injury hit list, that didn't help him, did it? People are going to be torn on the manager. That's obvious. It's football. And that's one of the things I love about this, right? When I go on Twitter and Facebook and whatever, and I see opinions of Dagenham supporters, I love that everyone's got their own opinion and they feel free to have an opinion. Because I think some fan bases are so toxic. If you have an opinion, they all fucking jump on you. With Dagenham fans, I think they fucking actually understand their football. I think that's why I get on with so many of them. Because I actually just feel the same. I just love my football and I love my local club. But I'm passionate about it. But last note is, we're going to be inconsistent again the second half of the season. Let's fucking enjoy it. Enjoy it, mate, wherever it takes us. At the moment, I think we're closer to a relegation scrap, really, on current form, and losing to these fucking certain inferior sides. I'm just going to enjoy it. Enjoy it and see what the summer holds. Because there's going to be players going out. This is one thing I've noticed as well in the National League. It's a fucking high turnover of players. So half of these players might not even be there next summer. So I would say give the owners a chance to put their process, if they've got one. I'd like to know what their process is. I don't know much about them. But I do think give the owners a chance to put their process in action and see what's coming in the future. But one thing I would say to them is you can't go without a youth system. You can't not have an academy at this level if you want to go higher. In my opinion, you've got so much talent that you're missing out on. But yeah, looking forward to Millwall. Looking forward to Ebbsfleet on New Year's Day. Millwall's going to be a cracker. Just hope we're in the game at half time. If we get about 6-0, we'll still sing our hearts off all game. Fuck it, let's enjoy it. Yeah, as I say, Happy New Year to everyone. I'll tell you what, it's been fucking great to meet so many different people in the clubhouse and at the games and what have you. It's been, no one's wanted to beat me up yet. I'll wait for that when I get home. My missus will beat me up. But it's been nice people to say like positive stuff about the channel and whatever. And I talk sense. I talk like a normal football fan, which is why I do it. I just love it. Just love football. Fucking live for it. But yeah, thanks for watching and let us know in the comments how you reckon we're going to do the second half of the season. Happy New Year.